I used to really reject the idea of being a highly sensitive person because for a long time I have put a negative label on the word sensitive. In my head, being sensitive means being weak, means being difficult, means being too much. But after reading more about this topic, I realized being highly sensitive is not bad at all. It's just a trait. And my life started to make so much sense. Like my behavior, my emotional patterns, they just all start to make sense. So today I want to talk about what it actually means to be a highly sensitive person and the traits that comes with it. Because I know a lot of highly sensitive people have been living with these traits without even realizing it. Hello guys, my name is Jasmine and welcome back to my channel. First thing first, let's get clear on the term highly sensitive people. The term is actually first brought up by psychologist Elaine Aron in the mid-90s. She believes that around 15 to 20% of the population are highly sensitive. I just want to establish that this is not something that someone made up. It's actually a term that is used psychologically. So what exactly are the traits that highly sensitive people have? So Dr. Elaine Aron created this acronym DOES that summarized 4 core traits of highly sensitive people. Let's go through it one by one. Number 1, D, which stands for a depth of processing. It simply means that highly sensitive people process everything more, consciously or not. This is the fundamental characteristics of highly sensitive people. We observe, we reflect before we act. Basically means we think a lot, sometimes too much. And we usually have to compare, relate to other things before we finally make a decision. So how does this show up in our everyday life? When you're making a decision, you may find out that you are slower than other people because you just have to think more. You have to process your information more and you have to think through all the options more carefully. So you might be an overthinker and you think a lot, so your inner world is very rich. You often appear smart because by the time other people are still processing things, your brain already processed the same thing 100 times in your head. Not because you're actually smart. You could be smart, of course, but because your brain is constantly processing information. And the next one is you could be having conversation with someone and in your head, you're already analyzing their personality. I relate to this as well. And you can feel more comfortable when you can observe other people's behavior before you take actions instead of doing it directly. The next trait is O, which is overstimulation. This is a big one. So this is quite straightforward. If you process everything more, if you pay attention to more things, of course you're going to get tired faster than other people. And that's why highly sensitive people tend to avoid intense situations. For example, loud music, crowds, sirens, glaring lights, conflict with other people, clutter. And I want to be clear here, it's not like highly sensitive people don't like loud music. It's that these things is actually disturbing and causes stress to highly sensitive people. And now you know why you never go to that party. So how does this show up in our daily life? You might be sensitive to noise, so you tend to avoid places like club or even just sirens stresses you. And I relate to this tremendously. I am so sensitive to noise that I hate it when people put their phone on speaker in the elevator. I still don't know why people are so insensitive and it stresses me every time. And the next one is you find it hard to go out the whole day. You just cannot hang out with your friends more than 5 hours or something because you get overstimulated. And because of that, you might be spending a lot of time alone, or after you hang out with your friends, you might need more time to recover. You might get startled easily, and you might avoid conflict with other people because it's highly stimulating to you. And when something goes on for too long, like commuting or traveling or a meeting, your energy goes down really, really fast. I relate to this as well. The other day I was in a meeting and at hour 2, I already feel like I couldn't focus and I couldn't take in whatever other people was talking about anymore. And the next one is you might get stressed or annoyed easily when you have a lot of things to do at once. And also, stimulation is anything that wake up your nervous system, so it doesn't have to come from outside. It could be from your own body as well, like your hunger, your memory, your thought, your feeling. And this is also why one of the traits for highly sensitive people is that they are more sensitive to pain and hunger. And I actually don't relate to this because I feel like I have pretty high tolerance for pain. But honestly, I don't know, like who can measure this honestly? The next one is E, which stands for empathy. So highly sensitive people have strong empathy, or they can even be an empath, meaning that they don't just know what other people are feeling, they can feel how they're feeling. And E also stands for emotional reactivity, meaning that they feel their emotions more intensely than other people. When something good happened, they feel it more. But when something bad happened, it hurt them more as well. And I think this one is really, really hard to measure because how can you just say like, oh, I feel this more than other people? But I think because this is so hard to measure, a lot of highly sensitive people, including myself, feel like I am probably too much. Why am I caring this much? Why am I feeling this much? And then we feel like there's something wrong with us. And so how does this show up in our daily life? So you can notice that people might open up more easily when they are around you. They just feel more heard and understood when they are around you. And because you listen better, you feel better, and you relate better, you might win people over easier as well. But that also means you could be easily affected by other people's mood. And the next one, S, stands for sensing the subtles. So you are very sensitive to the subtle things around you, and you might notice the things that other people tend to miss. But this trait is not about having extraordinary senses. Like I have terrible eyesight, for example. It's about the way you process these sensory information more carefully than other people. So for example, if two people meet the same person, highly sensitive people could process their body language, their facial expression, their tone more than non-highly sensitive people. So how does this show up in our daily life? So you are very observant, so you might notice that when you talk to your friends, like, have you noticed this and that? And they're like, no. And you can read people's mood easily because you notice the subtle details like the change in their tone, their body language, or something is different than their usual pattern. Now you know the traits of highly sensitive people, but why exactly do we develop these traits? The answer is your nervous system. So highly sensitive people have a more delicate nervous system, meaning that your nervous system processes everything more thoroughly and react to everything more strongly. So two people can be put into the same situation, and highly sensitive people's nervous system would be more aroused than non-highly sensitive persons. And I want to be very clear here. The difference between highly sensitive people and non-highly sensitive people is not whether they get aroused or not. It's how easily their nervous system get aroused. And that's why it can feel very exhausting to be a highly sensitive person, because even just in our day-to-day life, there are so many stimulation, there's so many things that could get us aroused, like that noise, that conversation, that smell, and it is very stressful. It could make you feel like out of control sometimes. And another thing I want to bring up is that highly sensitive people can have a more difficult childhood. I relate to this as well, especially if you are surrounded by insensitive adults. Because it could be a lot for a kid if you already know how to read people's mood, or if you're even an empath. It just feels too much for a kid. Even for me, I remember as a kid, I could always know whether my mom is happy or not. I could just know it from the change of her tone, and she didn't even try to show it to me, right? So I think a lot of highly sensitive people can relate to this because of how good we are at observing people, reading their mood. We took on a lot of emotions that is not ours. Now, before we end the video, one more thing I want to talk about is during my research about highly sensitive people, or my experience with highly sensitive people, including myself, a lot of people said the same thing, which is I thought there was something wrong with me. I remember being in a room full of people and watching them having so much fun, and I would question myself like, why can't I just have fun like them? What is wrong with me? Should I have fun like them? Like, I just have a lot of questions. But by making this video, I want you to understand like, well, there's nothing wrong with us. We are just different. And because we get overstimulated easily, we need more time alone. And we are not too much. We just feel things more deeply than other people. So by going through the traits today, I hope that it gives you a better understanding about yourself and where all of these is coming from. I also want you to know that a lot of traits that makes our life harder, it could also be our superpower. And I would definitely talk more about this in the future. So if you enjoy topics like this, please subscribe to my channel. And yeah, that's our video for today, and I hope it helps. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now.